It was the early hours in Washington when the digital silence was shattered. At 2:37 a.m., a post appeared on Elon Musk's account on the X platform. No image, no link, no video. Just a single sentence in all caps. The fuse has started to burn. No explanations, no context. Minutes later, the post vanished, as if it had never existed. But the screenshot had already spread. In groups of financial analysts, retired agents, and forums blending politics with conspiracy theories, the alarm was sounded. Musk is moving something. Again. Except this time, no one could fathom the scale of the web about to be unveiled. 12 hours later, Elon Musk went live. Not from a lavish Tesla or SpaceX stage, but from a forgotten facility in southern Florida, near Cape Canaveral. Cameras panned around an old space control center. Deactivated tube screens filled the room's background, but in front of them, massive LED panels glowed in real time with financial charts, interactive maps, and a gallery of faces frozen in security camera footage, passports, and old headlines. At the center of the scene stood Musk. He didn't smile. He didn't wave. He simply said, "You have no idea what they've hidden from you." Neither did I. Until now. The broadcast lasted just 7 minutes and 39 seconds. But it was enough to alter the course of American politics. Musk unveiled what he called Operation Doge, a financial counterintelligence project he claimed to have structured alongside his companies over the past 4 years. According to him, the mission was straightforward. Follow the money trail leaving public coffers under the guise of humanitarian aid and uncover where it truly ended up. This isn't a whistleblow. It's a fact. And here are the names. Without transition, faces began appearing on the screens. Senators, former secretaries, aides, NGO CEOs, and finally, Nancy Pelosi. Musk stared at her, even if only virtually. Representative Pelosi is directly tied to over $300 million in undeclared international transfers between 2014 and 2021. We know where the money went. We know in whose name. And we know who authorized it. The visuals displayed names of entities with benevolent titles: Hope Foundation, Sudan Life Project, Light for Myanmar Initiative. But they all shared one thing: bank records in Luxembourg, Seychelles, and Cyprus, with cross-transfers between accounts linked to relatives and aides of American politicians. Some of these funds are in the name of Pelosi's niece, Musk said as documents filled the screen, stamped, signed, and marked with SWIFT codes. The country erupted. Even journalists accustomed to leaks were left speechless. No prior exposé, not even the Panama Papers, had been presented with such precision on national airwaves by someone with such technological clout and data access. Social media exploded. Independent channels raced to verify the documents. Civic groups began filing Freedom of Information Act requests. The hashtag #WhereIsOurMoney trended globally for 3 straight days. But Musk vanished again. No tweets, no interviews, no official statements, until a new clue emerged. In an anonymous post on a forum of ex-intelligence agents, a leaked image surfaced. A room lit by white lights, tables strewn with laptops, cables crisscrossing the floor, and in the background, the same LED panel from the broadcast. The caption read, "Doge Center, Florida. Operational." Confirmation came hours later when drones discreetly flew over the site, detecting signs of activity. The old NASA building had been privatized in 2019 by a SpaceX subsidiary and had since undergone mysterious renovations. There, at the heart of the command center, Musk's team operated under strict protocols. He wasn't called Elon, but Lead. When someone shouted, "Lead in," everyone braced themselves. When they said, "Lead clear," it meant he'd left. The center functioned like a cybernetic brain. The tables were manned by forensic accountants, ex-military personnel, ethical hackers, and legal experts. Each mapped a piece of the puzzle. Among them was Riley Sonnet, the woman Musk trusted to trace the most sensitive connections. A former military intelligence officer, Riley was the one linking the NGOs to international funds. "Lead, you need to see this," she said, tapping her touchscreen desk. "Bloombridge Relief, the one claiming to care for orphans in Malawi. The money went through San Francisco, then Luxembourg, and landed in Furnico Asset Holdings. The registrant? Emery Ellison. Pelosi's niece's married name. Musk narrowed his eyes. Confirmation? Voter records, credit card, even a flight booking. We have it all. He simply replied, Good. In the corner of the room, a new panel displayed 3 locations marked in red: Phoenix, San Francisco, and Malibu. Musk turned to the operations table and said, I want warrants for all 3. Simultaneous coordination. No chance of prior warning. Sasha Brand, his legal strategist, crossed her arms. They'll react. This is the kind of thing that destabilizes the foundations of Congress. Then let it destabilize, Musk shot back. I'm not after stability, I'm after justice. And he was willing to see it through. The clock read 6:43 a.m. when the first black SUVs pulled up outside a mansion in Malibu. No sirens, no fanfare, just steady footsteps and silent protocols. At the same time, in Phoenix and San Francisco, the same pattern. Federal agents with sealed warrants, trained eyes, and a clear script. They knew where to look. Laptops, phones, hidden safes, transfer documents. Everything had been anticipated by Musk's team. They weren't groping in the dark. They were confirming. In Washington, D.C., the epicenter of the tension, the movement was even more dramatic. It was a live interview day, and Nancy Pelosi was about to go on air with a CNN anchor when an aide approached and whispered something in her ear. The congresswoman paled. Cut it. Now, she said, ripping off her microphone and storming out of the makeshift studio with quick steps. In her office, 2 agents were already waiting. They weren't visibly armed, but they carried something more powerful, a warrant signed by a Colorado judge, chosen to avoid conflicts of interest in D.C. We're here to collect materials related to international transfers between 2015 and 2022 involving humanitarian aid programs and congressional funds, one agent said. This is a mistake, a coordinated sham, Pelosi replied, grinding her teeth. If you attempt to erase any digital data, you could face obstruction charges, the other agent warned, eyeing an aide trembling with a phone in hand. Outside, reporters were already gathering on the Capitol steps. The question was singular. Is Nancy Pelosi officially under investigation? The answer didn't come from Congress. It came from the internet. Because at that exact moment, over 70 pages of documents began leaking on the Operation Doge portal. They weren't just spreadsheets and emails. They were transcripts, photos, bank statements, shell company contracts, and even images of properties bought with triangulated funds. The public didn't wait for the press to process it all. Analysis began in forums, citizen investigation channels, and alternative politics podcasts. Within hours, the material was being cross-referenced with public and international databases. At the helm of the operation, Musk remained silent. Standing before the main screen, he watched real-time updates. Phoenix, warrant executed. Malibu, 2 safes located. D.C., military-grade encrypted laptop transferred to Quantico for analysis. They've already started attacking you, Sasha Brand said, watching a live MSNBC broadcast. Let them attack. What they have now is desperation. They'll call me a digital tyrant, an authoritarian. Let them try, Musk replied, eyes unwavering. Riley approached with a fresh batch of data. The Maxine Waters connection is confirmed. Her niece co-signed 2 subsidies tied to Pelosi's funds, and the money trail ends at a property in Beverly Hills, she said, displaying the transaction map. Sasha took a deep breath. This will shake the entire house. No, Musk corrected. This will shake the entire system. That night, a new leak emerged. But this time, it wasn't Musk. An independent journalist named Mitch Lowe, a war veteran and owner of one of the biggest investigative channels outside mainstream media, released an audio. It was an accidental recording from a Bluetooth device. The voice, unmistakable, Nancy Pelosi, in a meeting with her lawyers. If this goes to trial, I'm done. They have everything. You don't need to tell me that, I know. The clip went viral in minutes. Major networks ignored it. But TikTok, YouTube, and hundreds of alternative channels spread it like wildfire. The narrative began to shift. It was no longer, Elon Musk is overstepping. Now it was, why hasn't anyone done this before? The next morning, Pelosi appeared outside her Georgetown home. Tired eyes, steady voice, but lacking spark. This is a coordinated attempt to destroy me politically. A billionaire with a messianic complex shouldn't be the arbiter of democracy. But the image no longer stuck. In Nebraska coffee shops, Texas classrooms, Pennsylvania school buses, people were talking, not shouting, talking with doubt, with thirst, with attention. In the command center, Sasha stared at the headlines. They're trying to turn you into the villain of the story. I expected that. What they didn't expect is that people are more awake than they think, Musk replied. And if none of this changes anything? Riley, listening, answered before Musk could. It already has. And it had. 3 days later, Musk was summoned to a public congressional hearing. He went alone. No aides, no lawyers, no theatrics. In the packed room, with cameras in every corner, he sat before the Oversight Committee. On one side, the lawmakers. On the other, the people. Nancy Pelosi was there. She entered last. Silent. Serious. But she no longer carried the same aura. With a simple tap on his screen, Musk began the presentation. Operation Doge's mission was simple. Follow the money. From the public source through intermediaries to private beneficiaries. All documented. The screens displayed transactions in sequence. From the State Department to Geneva-based NGOs, then to Amsterdam developers, landing in holdings registered under lawmakers' relatives. 32 properties in 6 countries, registered under shell companies controlled by individuals tied to members of this House. A heavy silence hung over the room. Pelosi then interjected, "You're not a federal investigator. You have no legal authority to act like this. You're hijacking the democratic process." Musk met her gaze. Calm. "If this is a hijacking, why does your niece appear as a financial consultant in 3 companies that laundered public funds?" She faltered. No response. Musk pressed on. "I have here an email chain, one from 2020, with this line from your aide. Confirm audit delay. If it's filed as development aid, no one questions it." The screen froze on the sentence. How does someone with a salary under $200,000 a year hold indirect stakes in assets exceeding $100 million? Pelosi tried to respond, citing contracts, investments, books, but her voice shook. Musk concluded, "I don't want applause, or office, or power. I just want the public to see, and demand more. Because this here is the bare minimum." 3 days later, Nancy Pelosi announced she wouldn't seek re-election. She avoided mentioning the operation, but everyone knew. The impact was immediate. Lawmakers scrubbed records, NGOs shut down, contracts were reviewed. Musk didn't celebrate. In a final video, he said only, "This was never about me. It was about respect." The country didn't return to normal, but it began to watch. In schools, bars, and town squares, people debated budgets, demanded transparency, and a new motto appeared on city walls, written in simple, firm ink. The truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to not stay silent. Because now someone had finally turned on the light.